This is the Crypto Hipster podcast. This is not a traditional interview show. These are perspective-driven conversations with founders, builders, and independent creators shaping what comes next. We go beyond headlines, beyond hype, and beyond price to explore ownership, freedom, and opportunity in the digital economy, where builders talk freedom, not price. Crypto was supposed to disrupt manufactured credibility. Instead, parts of the industry learned how to manufacture it too. Welcome to the Crypto Hipster, where builders talk freedom and not price, and where I'm becoming less interested in polished narratives and more interested in pressure, because pressure reveals things. Pressure reveals systems, pressure reveals incentives, and eventually pressure reveals people. One of the reasons so many people fell in love with crypto in the first place was this idea that it broke foundational and functional traditional gatekeeping. You didn't need permission. You didn't need a pedigree. You didn't need the right last name, the right school, the right country club, the right corporate ladder, the right institutional network. You could just build. And that was the promise: a permissionless system, an open system, a merit-driven system. And for a while, that actually felt real. Because some of the smartest people in crypto didn't come from traditional finance. Some didn't come from elite universities. Some were anonymous. Some were outsiders. Some, like me, were weird. Some were underestimated, like me. And we built anyway. That mattered to me because I come from traditional corporate America. And let me tell you something. In traditional corporate systems, proximity matters a lot. Who you know, who brought you in, who sponsors you, who protects you, who gives you visibility. That's how a lot of opportunity flows. Not always, but often enough that everyone inside of those systems understands the game. And crypto was supposed to be different. But alas, somewhere along the way, parts of crypto started recreating the exact thing it claimed it would disrupt. Not through resumes alone, but through manufactured credibility. Conference circuits, podcast circuits, advisory boards, institutional associations, social proof loops, people borrowing credibility from proximity instead of earning it through lived operational experiences. And the weird part, sometimes the market can't tell the difference because someone can sound intelligent without ever having operated under real pressure. Someone can repeat narratives without ever touching the machinery. Someone can become highly visible without ever building anything durable. That realization changed how I interview people now and going forward. After hundreds of conversations, 586, 7, somewhere around 590 at this point, I stopped being impressed by polished answers. In fact, the smoother the narrative, the more cautious I am. Because real builders usually carry friction with them. They carry, not because they're unprepared, but because reality is messy. Systems are messy. Deployment is messy. It's not clean. Scaling is messy. Regulation, as we all see publicly, is messy. People are messy. And if someone actually has operated inside difficult systems, you can usually hear the scars in the conversation. Not performative scars, not what sounds good, not branding, and not trauma theater. I mean, operational depth, nuance, trade-offs, contradictions, lessons that only emerge after something breaks. It's not perfection. No. It's pressure. Pressure. Pressure, 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 pressure. I don't know how long I got to say it. I could say it forever. And so this is why I also changed the direction of my podcast. I'm no longer interested in being a distribution channel for announcements. There are plenty of other podcasts in the industry that feel free to do that on, you know. I'm not interested in recycling market narratives where you hear it one place one day, you hear it the exact same place the next day, and then you hear it on my show. Nah. Honestly, news announcements, market analysis, and polished talking points are usually the first things that hit my editing room floor. Because those things don't tell me much. Pressure tells me something. Long form conversation tells me something. It reveals that pressure. And sustained discussion tells me something, because eventually, if you stay in a conversation long enough, rehearsed narratives begin to crack. Not through gotcha moments. Gotcha. No, not through ambushes. I don't plan on ambushing my guests. And not through cheap drama. Through depth, through sustained pressure, through questions that force someone beyond the surface layer. That's when you begin to understand whether someone truly knows the system they're describing, or whether they simply learned how to market themselves around it. I'm not going to name names, but some of your favorite Bitcoiners have no technology chops whatsoever. So, the people who I learn from the most now are rarely the smoothest presenters. They're not the smooth sounding salesman. They're not the shout talker. They're usually people who shipped through failure, operated under uncertainty, adapted in real time, survived system stress, or kept building when conditions became very, very uncomfortable. These conversations feel different because pressure leaves fingerprints. You can hear it. You can feel it. The language changes. the certainty disappears, the nuance increases, and the incentives become visible. And ironically, those are often the people with the least polished narratives. So, I'm not anti-success. I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not anti-corporate. I'm not anti-institution. And I'm not saying everyone with a polished resume lacks depth. Some have it. Some have earned every inch of their experience. But titles alone, they don't impress me anymore. Visibility alone doesn't impress me anymore. And proximity alone certainly does not impress me anymore. Because systems pressure eventually exposes everybody. And what I've realized after years of conversations, I've been doing this since 2021, is that people who truly understand the machinery usually speak differently. Once they've lived through enough friction, enough pain, enough coming up the hard way. And that's who I want on my platform. Now, I want builders, operators, people who touch the system closely enough to understand where it breaks, because that's where the signal is. And increasingly, it's the only thing I care about finding is the signal through the noise. This is Crypto Hipster, where builders talk freedom, not price, and where pressure eventually reveals the builder.